you guys doing? You got to be fired up. You got to be fired up to be here. This is an amazing gathering, and it's true, this is my 26th consecutive conference, but I only keep coming back because I just get so much out of it. So the first thing I want to do is congratulate you for being in this room. This is a big step. It's a big step in your personal journey and in your career. You've shown you're willing to spend your money and your time and made a commitment to exploring this path. But it's just the first step. And to really get on this path, you've got to make those decisions every day. You heard Peter use the word amoral decisions. I talk about values-neutral decisions. You've got to avoid values-neutral decisions and values-neutral work. There's a great saying, it's one of our Honest Tea bottle cap quotes. It says, if we don't change the direction we are headed, we will end up where we are going. And it's true with your career, but it's especially true with your work. And so you have to find ways to choose life-affirming decisions, diversity-affirming decisions, economic opportunity-affirming decisions. And when you do that, watch what happens. I also want to applaud Net Impact for committing to having a plant-based conference, a plant-based menu for the conference. That's a big deal, really big deal. You know, if we had tried to do that, 26 years ago or even 10 years ago, people would have been like, oh man, I don't know if I can stomach that. That's a little tough. But the world has changed. It really has. The offerings that you're going to have, that you're going to taste today are delicious and diverse and nutritious and fully meeting your dietary needs. And it's really because of companies like Beyond Meat that have changed the whole approach. So what the companies that made veggie burgers used to do was mush a bunch of vegetables together and put it in the shape of a patty and say, well, that's a replacement for a hamburger. And, about 5% of the population was vegetarian, and it stayed that way. But at Beyond Meat, we said, let's not do that. Let's understand exactly what meat is. And what we learned, of course, is that all meat comes from plants. The animal meat that we eat is just because it comes to us because an animal uses his or her digestive and skeletal system to convert plants into meat. Well, what if we leave the animal out of it? And we use heat and pressure and cooling. We take those plants and we convert them directly into meat. We know the amino acids form the proteins. We know the lipids form the fats, and 70% water. All of those things exist in the plant kingdom. And when we can do that, we can deliver a product that tastes delicious, but also uses 99% less water, 93% less land. And when you can do that, the sustainability element is transformational. You really can't be at a conference thinking about sustainability and social responsibility and not address what's at the center of the plate. And so that's what we're doing here today, and it's exciting to see the kind of transformation that can take place. We also need your help at Beyond Meat. So we are just in the process now. We have our first trial with McDonald's up in Canada. Anyone in the London, Ontario area or who's in driving distance needs to get to the McDonald's and let them know how good it tastes. We're also in a trial with Subway. We're in Indiana, South Bend, and near Penn State, Harrisburg. If you are in driving range, you need to get to those stores and let them know how good it tastes. We had someone who just drove 347 miles to get to Subway. She loved it. She said it was worth the drive. So if she's doing that, that's something you can do. On November 3rd, Dunkin' Donuts takes the Beyond Breakfast sausage patty chain-wide. And I'm looking for all of you to bring those breakfast sausage patties to your campus and introduce it to your campus. Let them know it's a debriefing meeting from Net Impact, and let them know what happened. Let them know what we ate. I talked about that quote, if we don't change the direction we are headed, we will end up where we're going. Well, it's especially true when we think about our diets. And you can look at the global warming that's happening. You can look at the forests burning in Brazil, and there's a direct connection between that and the meat industry because they're clearing those forests to grow grains that are fed to animals. 60% of the planet's arable land is involved in the meat industry. And of course, when we think about feeding the planet, we don't have enough planets to feed everyone animal-based food. But when you use 93% less land, we do. Not to mention the billions of creatures who are as sentient as the cats and dogs we have in our house, who are victims of our current food system. I remember when my son said to me, Dad, how come if we can meet our nutritional needs without having to kill animals, why wouldn't we try to do that? That was what did it for me. It's a question worth considering, and the change starts today. Thank you all for coming and enjoy the conference.